Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Today, I want to talk about one of my favorite topwater techniques that excels during the hottest part of the summer. So we're talking right now, July, August, September. This topwater will excel anywhere you're at in the country. It will catch fish, and it is a blast to use as well. Before I get into that, though, I just want to remind you to hit the subscriber button if you have not done so already. We are getting close to 10,000 subscribers. So if you're watching the videos on a regular basis, guys, you might as well hit that. It gets you entered into my monthly prize drawing giveaways, so you have a shot at winning some cool stuff from my sponsors, and it helps the channel out, so hit that subscriber button. So today, I want to talk about prop baits. And specifically, I'm talking about smaller bluegill imitation style prop baits. I've got some of my favorite ones here. These are Gandys. This is a Brian's B. Then we've got some like a PH Custom. All of them are made to mimic bluegill. And these prop baits, the reason that they excel is because they match the hatch really well. And in the hottest part of the summer, you've got bluegill that are spawning throughout the country. It's one of the best techniques and best patterns to target big, shallow bass. You can do it visually as well, which is one really nice thing. You can cruise the shallow water, specifically looking for the honeycombs of the bluegill beds. And, you can go back to those same bluegill beds and cast these baits over the top. And if there's an active largemouth bass around, they will hit this bait better than pretty much any other topwater bait that I know of if you're targeting the bluegill beds. As you can see, I mean, the paint schemes on all of these are just gorgeous. They're all made to specifically match different bluegills. You can pretty much buy them in almost any bluegill pattern that's out there. They are a little bit pricey because most of these are more on the custom small batch production line. So you're going to be looking probably around the $20 mark. You can get some more mass-produced models by some of the bigger companies that work as well. But I'll tell you, there's some things about these custom baits that really make them stand apart from some of the ones that are more mass-produced. Number one, you can see the paint schemes on them are just amazing. But one of the other things that I think a lot of the mass-produced baits miss is the props that are used and how well they thump. And I know that sounds weird, but let's see if you can hear it. Like you can hear that dung 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 as it spins. It's actually creating a substantial amount of vibration with that thumping as it spins. And that's kind of one of the keys you don't hear many people talk about, but all of these baits do it. They've all got a very good kind of thumping, kind of not super smooth spinner on it. The smoother the spinner, the less vibration that's being given off. And with some baits, you want a really smooth spinner because, you're straight retrieving it and you just want it to be spinning really well. In this case, though, the way that these baits are used, you want that thumping vibration. And what I mean by that is, this is a bait you throw out. You don't just reel it straight back to the boat. You're working it with short, hard twitches. So you want that bait pretty much just to go, to almost dive in the water and then float back up to the surface. So when it gets thrust into the water, you get the prop movement, and that's when you get that vibration that will then kind of send out those ripples into the water, which will attract the bass through their lateral line. It's really a unique feature of this bait over other topwater baits. Most other baits don't have that same vibration coming from the props. So that's kind of one of the biggest keys to getting these custom baits or this more smaller mass-produced baits. They've all got that down. You can see they do that in a lot of these instances by making fixed hardware. So in this case, the bottom rivet down there is fixed into the bait. Most of them have it, on this Brian's Bees, everything is locked in place as well. And the vibration is just great. I wish you could feel the vibration coming off of this. You know, this one's got a rattle. So, I mean, you know, there's different things you can do with the customs, but they really seem to match the bluegill quite well. So that's kind of the key. The fishing them is simple. Like I said, you throw it out over the bluegill beds, jerk it hard, try to get it to dive a little bit, float back up to the surface, let it sit there. Jerk it hard, let it sit there. You know, it's like the old hula popper saying where you throw it out, pop it, let the rings, you know, float away from the bait and disappear, pop it again, do it over. In this case, you're not popping it, you're thrusting it hard. You want to create some commotion, but it's a really easy bait to use. I do want to point out that your setup is pretty important with these baits. You want to be throwing not a super long rod. I like to throw a 7-foot MHX blank. It's an MB843, so it's a 3-power. It's a medium fast rod with a relatively you know, a good parabolic bend that you'd want on a topwater bait, so you're not pulling the bait away from the fish. The line is a big part of it. I like to throw braid to a mono leader. You know, I'll use about a 2-foot mono leader, and the whole key with that is if you throw straight braid, the braid will get caught around the propeller quite frequently and it'll ruin the entire cast. If you use a mono leader, that mono's got enough resistance and memory that it's not going to get tangled around the propeller nearly as much. The other key to preventing that is when you make your cast, it's better to make underhand roll casts and sidearm casts than to go over the shoulder. If you make a roll cast, you're going to have a tighter line throughout the cast and you're not going to have nearly as much slack to catch around the prop. If you throw over the shoulder, that bait's coming straight down, you get a lot more excess line on your cast, and that's when you get it tangled around the bait. So you do want to kind of use more of an underhand cast that has a faster cast that'll put the bait more in its target spot versus a long overhand cast. So those are the keys to this bait, guys. It's not a hard bait to use. It really is a very, very good mimicking bait of a spawning bluegill, and it drives the fish crazy. And it also is a great bait at catching some giant bass. Some of the biggest summer bass I've had have been caught on different variations of these prop baits. So you can find them at different tackle shops. You can get them, you know, if you just search prop baits on the internet, you can find some cool custom ones that are made. But I'm telling you guys, give it a try. You'll have a blast. I'm telling you, it's one of the best topwater baits that you can throw during the hottest part of the summer. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We got new tips and tricks that come out every day.